Hey everyone, no respawns, hope you're doing well. In this video I'm going to give you a somewhat negative, but I like to think fair review of the current state of Fortnite. It's a really good game, however there are some issues I have with it. So, Fortnite, there being a great core concept, that being the idea of a co-op game centered around building forts and then defending said forts from hordes of weird and varied enemies, is a really grand one, and I really enjoyed my initial experience and have genuine high hopes that this aspect of the game will be fleshed out even more as time goes by. As I remember, it's an early access and it's not slated to release until 2018. That being said, it has some elements that, if not addressed soon, could really kill off any long-term enthusiasm and audience engagement before the 2018 release. Definitely for me, I'm already getting kind of, not put off, just a bit bored. So for me, it's twofold. Just mentioned, the game gets stale after a while. It's arguably forgivable, given that it is still in early access and have many more modes and features than coming. The devs are quite enthusiastic on a recent Ask Me Anything on Reddit, so again, this is a forgivable one. But the other being that the microtransactions are dangerously close to being a fee to pay rather than optional. So let's go with the first one, is the fact that it gets stale. So, now, it's not that the game is boring, it's far from it. I've had great fun, launch day, server issues aside, actually playing the game originally. You know, the maps are really beautiful, the gameplay is tight, especially the defending of the forts. It can get quite hectic and really just crazy fun. And the building, for me, kind of being the Fallout base building guy, is really well designed, and in its current form does lack any real motivation to be creative because of the fact there's no aesthetic choices, and well, to be honest, in the missions get smashed down, but the core elements of it are very cool. The problem is that it gets very repetitive, with the missions themselves being either find that location and defend, or kind of scavenger hunts for encampments or survivors. To some degree, they don't really vary, so it becomes quite formulaic. Now again, I'm well aware this is early access, and therefore I would argue this is forgivable, especially considering I've got, 20-30 hours enjoyment already from something which is early access and will be getting quite a lot of consistent updates according to the devs. It is still a very noticeable thing. I am, however, quite confident the dev will fix this quite easily with the addition of more modes and the like. It still stands out. So for me personally, for example, I'm probably putting the game down just for this core reason alone, and I can't see myself grinding to the end game. I said I'm about a third of the way through or something like that, but I can't see myself grinding to the end game in its current form, because I'll just get kind of bored. There's not really much beyond just doing the same kind of variations on the same thing. But again, that's almost a minor gripe. This is the kind of game for me on that aspect alone that I intend to pick up and play every few months or so when a few more updates have dropped. That's also one of the reasons why I'm not kind of steamrolling through the game already, so that way I have kind of fresh, quote, new content for me to play and feel like I'm progressing. So the second gripe, and arguably the most problematic for me, and it's something that I think for them is going to be quite difficult to fix compared to, maybe the lack of content in my original criticism. One, on a concept basis, and two, no doubt, on a revenue basis, is the microtransactions. Now, just for the record, I am actually probably a lot more forgiving than most of you when it comes to microtransactions. Personally, as long as it's done well, they don't bother me at all. Example is Overwatch with their crates. I quite like buying them, but they don't change the gameplay in any way. They don't add anything extra in terms of ability or weapons or anything like that. It's purely aesthetic. So personally, I feel that a lot of microtransactions do get undue criticisms from gamers, or not undue. It's one of those things depending on where you stand. I hate microtransactions in single player games, but in a multiplayer game, especially with the intent of going free to play, I'm okay with it. With the microtransactions in Fortnite, they don't do them very well at all. So the problem with Fortnite is that the Llamas, now, you can earn them slowly throughout playing the main game. For example, if you got the game on launch, you get actual kind of reward Llamas every morning, or whenever you sign in, and you can obviously earn them. You earn them periodically throughout doing the main story and also doing things like completing your collection book. However, outside of that, you have to buy them. Now, you do actually earn the currency to buy them as well, but that's kind of your daily quest. But at maximum, you can only really get about one, potentially, and I don't know, because I haven't got to the end game, whether they dry up. But the problem is what they reward. Now, that's the big issue. So it's not like Overwatch, where it's all cosmetic stuff that has no impact on gameplay. In Fortnite, it's your main source of schematics, and new heroes, and new survivors, and new traps. So that means a person willing to invest their own money into buying loads of these llamas ultimately has a much greater chance of getting really powerful weapons. So the thing is for those who don't know, is that weapons you pick up in the kind of within the game, because you can find rare, and I found epic weapons kind of just scavenging the maps. Once they break, you don't get to reuse them, whereas the ones you find, you actually find schematics, you know, the craftable base component to actually make them. So for example, I've got, you know, an epic shotgun recipe, which I really like, and I can keep making that after it's breaking, and I can also upgrade it as well to make it more powerful. So obviously, even now, this is, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's free to play, but it is a problematic microtransaction element. Now, as I said, the argument in favour, loosely, of the current system would be that you can earn the llamas, and therefore it's not paid to win, but it is quite flimsy, as I said, someone who ultimately can just pay money to get all the good gear. I mean, if you, obviously I can't imagine someone doing this, but I bet you someone has done this, put 100 quid, buy £100 worth of, or $100, whatever, worth of llamas, chances are you're going to get quite a few legendaries. And unless you're really unlucky, and that means that puts you at an advantage against someone who doesn't want to pay for the llamas. So now that they've got this free-to-play element that focuses on llamas that you can earn through V-Bucks, through doing occasional quests, and purchasing them, it means that, to be honest, there isn't really a sense of progression as well. Obviously, there's a sense of progression in terms of how your character levels up in terms of skill points and that kind of thing, but ultimately a game that is built alongside its fortress building side around loot and all of these variations of weapons, you need to feel like you're actually progressing, that you're getting new gear. And to be honest, outside the llamas, the mission drops aren't very good. I mean, perhaps maybe that rocket launcher schematic I got a while back was quite cool, mainly because I haven't replaced it, and it's a very useful thing to use against large groups of enemies who are swamping me, or maybe the smasher dude. However, to be honest, I want to replace my shotgun with a legendary. I want to get a new weird type of weapon. I want something different, and ultimately, because it's now trapped between the llamas, it doesn't feel very fun. You can end up going hours and hours of gameplay without any new interesting gear outside of a load of blues. See, the problem again is once you get a couple of epic items, all of the items you get are blues, and ultimately they're not as interesting, and you're just waiting for a legendary. I mean, I got really excited this one time when I picked up a charging laser sniper rifle, which was really cool, but it was actually the item, not the schematic. So once that broke, that was it. That cool weapon is gone right now. And as people have mentioned on Reddit, in fact, especially, is the fact is it just feels like this is all extra padding to give them excuse to charge you for things. Ultimately, what they should have done is just taken all of this stuff out. See, because the thing is there are actually chests that you open when you finish missions. What they should have done is put all of this stuff in those chests. Maybe also make it so you can get some of this stuff in the llamas, but eventually change the llamas so they instead drop cosmetic gear, new character skins, things like that. My current worry is right now is this going to be really difficult for them to actually implement. On a purely, as I said, on a purely kind of practical basis with being built into the current balance of the system, and also on a back-end basis with the kind of corporate HQ not really being keen on an idea like that, where a free-to-play game in 2018's free-to-play element needs to be radically changed. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. How are you feeling of the game right now? Have you been enjoying it? You know, I haven't been playing with mates very much, so ultimately it's probably more exciting with a large group of friends. Have you been enjoying that element? I said I've been enjoying the fortress building and the fortress defending loads. However, the problem is, it's just I don't feel like I'm progressing, and I'm a little bit bitter or just not too keen on the free-to-pay or the kind of the microtransactions in the game. And this is me, as I said, someone who is usually quite generous and soft against microtransactions. Anyway, yeah, leave your answers in the comments because I am generally quite curious. I do want to continue playing the game, but I'll probably take a little bit of a break with it on the channel until they actually start dropping some new updates, so then I can review kind of new game modes, updates, the building function, that kind of thing. So expect to see these videos take a break, but then appear later down the line. Anyway, as always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. I will have a new Fallout video up soon, as well as other games are coming. It's exciting times. Until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.